Now, today, Maria, Donald Trump was named Time Magazine Person of the Year. Stunning, of course not, right? There was no one else they could have named. But the sub-headline was, quote, President of the Divided States of America. Trump asked about that today, categorically disagreed. Here he is.
When you say divided states of America, I didn't divide them. They're divided now. I mean, there's a lot of division. I think putting divided is snarky. But again, it's divided. I'm not president yet, so I didn't do anything to divide.
Not surprising that that is something that he would say. He has yet to take responsibility for the kind of rhetoric that he used from the moment that he announced his presidential campaign. I have said this nonstop on this show. When he came out and called Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals and drug dealers, then went on to talk about banning Muslims, then went on to insult Judge Curiel, a Mexican-American judge. He did so much to divide this country, and he has yet to take responsibility for the kinds of divisions and hateful, and it's not just rhetoric. The New York Times started a weekly column called The Week in Hate to track hate crimes that have risen specifically because of the Donald Trump campaign and now specifically because he's president-elect. And the things that are going on around the country are just jaw-dropping. Swastikas showing up in schools and in churches, Latino kids that are being made fun of and chanting, build the wall, we're going to deport you. That is deplorable, and I think that the president-elect has a challenge, but I think also an opportunity to actually step up to the plate and admit it and try to unite us.
We tend to ignore all of the violence that's gone on towards Trump supporters. The homeless woman who was beaten up, the man who I watched being dragged out of his car.
That's awful.
Lots of violence against Trump supporters. And do you know why that is? We have a culture of division that started long before Donald Trump. And I put the origin with President Obama. When Ferguson happened, when he took to that podium and when he divided us further, not recognizing that most police officers are good, not recognizing that most American citizens are good, he divided us. And he's laid the fault lines of division all throughout his presidency. And they've been laid further by the left and left-wing commentators who oversimplify Trump's statements, who say he called all Mexicans rapists, which he did not do. He said when Mexico sends people, he didn't call for a total ban on Muslims. He called for a temporary one. But when we eliminate nuance, we infuriate and scare a lot of groups, and I think it's irresponsible. And the divisions are here because of the left.
But Kayleigh, I will say, he did say most because he said I assume some were good people, right? So the implication is most Mexicans were rapists. In that particular comment,
he said when
proposing a ban, whether temporary or not, of Muslims. How are those things not divisive?
He said when Mexico sends people, much like when Cuba sent people during the Mariel boat lift, that's a small contingency of people that he was talking about. It was not a broad swipe at a group. That's the way it's been interpreted by the left.
And then when he talked about deporting the 11 million undocumented immigrants, again, divisiveness. And he has never done anything to take responsibility for it and to say, look, either I didn't mean those things or let's work together to try to fix this.
To enforce the law? Change the law. Change the Immigration and Nationality Act.
You don't think he has been divisive at all?
Not in the slightest.
Wow.
No.
Don't?
What I think is divisive is a state.
Yeah.
No, we are creating a division in this country. When you say what is law, the Immigration and Nationality Act is law, and you treat it as hate to say he wants to enforce the laws on the books. If you think that's hateful, take it up with Congress and go change the laws.
When he first premised that by calling Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals,
yes. I just explained how he didn't do that.
Yes, he did. He said those words the day that he announced his campaign, Kayleigh.
You eliminate nuance for a political purpose, and that's very sad.
That is why. Then why is there such a huge percentage rise in hate crimes, specifically since Donald Trump pronounced his campaign for president?
No,
it's not a coincidence.
Because we have a culture of violence in this country that has nothing to do with Donald Trump. If anything, it has to do with the last 8 years under this president.
White supremacists call him his guy. That's not a coincidence.
I just don't know why we're arguing about this. Of course, all the blame doesn't belong to Donald Trump. Of course, things went back earlier. But to say that he hasn't, contributed to the divisions in the country, I think it's just sort of like, turning a blind eye and an ideological eye somewhere else. I don't understand how you can possibly believe that.
I think who has contributed more to division in this country are the people who have tried to paint Donald Trump as a racist, as a xenophobe. Hillary Clinton devoted endless speeches to that purpose. Hillary Clinton and the left and the oversimplification of his words are what have divided this country, not Donald Trump.